They said Earth's refusal to display its warships was proof of weakness, until one unofficial envoy quietly changed the entire galaxy's understanding of peace. No one realized that the real reason humans never showed their armed forces was because their strength was hidden in plain sight. When the moment came, that secret would speak louder than a dozen fleets. The year was 2489 IG, Interstellar Gregorian, and aboard the Earth diplomatic cruiser, SS New Dawn, Ambassador Elena Cho stood at the viewport, watching stars streak by as they approached Concordia Prime. The massive, wheel-shaped space station gleamed in the distance, its silver spires reflecting the light of a nearby star. This year's Galactic Council Summit would be no different from the others. Every major race would parade its military as a show of strength and deterrence. And once again, Earth would decline to send any visible armed forces. Ambassador Cho scrolled through her datapad, ignoring the invective from other races. Earth must be too frightened to show its arms. She had heard it all before. A soft chime announced a visitor at her door. "Enter," she said, not looking up from her work. Lieutenant Samuel Greer stepped inside, his uniform crisp and his posture rigid. He was new to Earth's diplomatic corps, assigned to Cho just 3 weeks prior. "Ambassador, I've finalized your schedule for the summit," he said, handing her another datapad. "And General Harlan is requesting a brief word." Cho sighed. "Put him through." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing General Marcus Harlan's stern face. His salt and pepper hair was cut military short, and his expression was one of barely contained frustration. "Ambassador Cho," he said, his voice terse, "I see we're maintaining our standard protocol for the summit." "That's correct, General." "Elena, I must insist, again, that we reconsider. The Dravari are bringing their new Ion-class dreadnoughts. The Zeroth are showcasing crystalline particle cannons. Every major power is flexing their military muscle, and we're sending scientists and cultural attacks." "As we always have," Cho replied evenly. "And one day, our apparent weakness will invite aggression." Cho's expression remained impassive. "Thank you for your concern, General. I'll keep it in mind." As the hologram faded, Lieutenant Greer cleared his throat. "Ambassador, if I may, why don't we ever bring our ships to these summits? Is it because of resource constraints, or—" "It's policy, Lieutenant," Cho interrupted. "Earth has its reasons." She turned back to the viewport, effectively dismissing him. Greer hesitated, then nodded and left the room. Once alone, Cho accessed a secure channel on her datapad and sent a brief, polite communique to the Council. Earth would attend with purely civilian delegates, scientists, cultural attacks, and an unarmed liaison, just as they always had. The opening gala at Concordia Prime was a spectacle of alien diversity. Delegates from over 200 worlds mingled in the Grand Hall, their varied physiologies creating a tapestry of colors, shapes, and sounds. Overhead, holographic displays showed the military vessels positioned around the station Dravari dreadnoughts, with their imposing black hulls. Zeroth frigates, shimmering with crystalline energy. Verdani bioships pulsing with organic light. Ambassador Cho led her small delegation with quiet dignity, nodding to acquaintances as they passed. Lieutenant Greer followed a step behind, doing his best to hide his awe at the gathering. Dr. Sienna Rowe, Earth Science Attach, was engaged in animated conversation with a Quarian physicist, while Professor Aki Tanaka, the cultural envoy, observed the proceedings with scholarly interest. "Ambassador Cho," a gravelly voice called out, "Earth honors us with its presence, if not its strength." Warlord Cax of the Dravari Coalition approached, his scaled skin reflecting the light in iridescent patterns. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, he was an imposing figure, his ceremonial armor adorned with trophies from past conflicts. "Warlord Cax," Cho replied with a respectful nod. "Strength takes many forms." So humans keep saying, Cax laughed, a sound like stones grinding together. Yet when the galaxy looks to Earth, they see only soft diplomats and curious scientists. Perhaps that is all they need to see. Cax's reptilian eyes narrowed. But before he could respond, the chamber's attention shifted. Fleet Lord Aaron of the Zirath sector had entered, surrounded by a retinue of officers, where Cax was all brute force and intimidation. Aaron moved with calculated precision, his slender form encased in a suit that seemed to be made of living crystal. The two leaders locked eyes across the room. The tension was palpable, centuries of conflict hanging between them. "The Kestrel Nebula mining routes," Lieutenant Greer whispered to Cho. "They've been disputing them for decades." 57 years, Cho corrected quietly. Suddenly, Warlord Cax strode forward, his voice booming across the chamber. "Fleet Lord Aaron of the Zirath sector. I, Cax, Warlord of the Dravari Coalition, challenge you to a trial of arms." The hall fell silent. Even the ambient music ceased. "The Kestrel Nebula mining routes have been contested long enough," Cax continued. "By ancient galactic law, I invoke the right of martial resolution." Fleet. Lord Aaron's crystalline suit shimmered with changing colors, a Zirath expression of contemplation. After a moment, he stepped forward. "I accept your challenge, Warlord Cax. Let our fleets decide what our words cannot." Murmurs erupted throughout the hall. Ambassador Cho felt a chill run down her spine. A trial of arms was no mere display or tournament. It meant actual combat between the two races' war fleets, right here in Concordia Prime's orbit. The ancient law was rarely invoked, precisely because of its deadly seriousness. "They can't be serious," Lieutenant Greer whispered. "Fighting here? Now?" "They are very serious," Cho replied, her mind racing. "And by council law, once formally declared and accepted, the trial must proceed." Across the hall, delegates were already consulting with their governments. Several races with no stake in the conflict were making arrangements to depart Concordia Prime before the battle commenced. A Verdani delegate, her vine-like appendages twisting nervously, approached Cho. "Ambassador, surely Earth must intervene. A battle here could damage the station itself." "Earth has no military presence at this summit," Cho stated simply. The Verdani's bioluminescent patterns flickered, their equivalent of a frown. "Then perhaps it is time Earth reconsidered its policy. If Earth will not bring ships, this is their fault for allowing barbaric law to proceed unchecked." As the Verdani moved away, Lieutenant Greer leaned closer to Cho. "Ambassador, shouldn't we at least contact Earth? Request emergency support?" "That won't be necessary, Lieutenant," Cho said, her voice calm despite the chaos surrounding them. "Please gather our delegation. We need to prepare." Within hours, preparations for battle were well underway. The Dravari dreadnoughts aligned portside of Concordia Prime, their weapon systems running diagnostics. The Zirath cruisers flanked starboard, crystalline particle cannons humming with energy. On the station, emergency protocols had been initiated, with civilians directed to secure areas deep within the structure. Ambassador Cho stood in Earth's diplomatic suite, watching the military buildup through a large viewport. Behind her, the rest of the Earth delegation waited in uneasy silence. "The station's automated defense grid is warning of potential collision risks," Dr. Sienna Rowe reported, studying a holographic display. The scientist's normally enthusiastic demeanor had given way to concern. "If a damaged ship loses control, it could hit Concordia Prime's habitation rings. Millions of lives at risk," Professor Tanaka added quietly. Lieutenant Greer could contain himself no longer. "Ambassador, with all due respect, why haven't we sent for support? Are we truly defenseless? Do we really intend to stand by and watch as they potentially destroy this station and everyone on it?" Cho turned from the viewport, her expression unchanged. "Lieutenant, do you recall the Proxima skirmish of 2486? Greer blinked in confusion at the apparent non-sequitur. The pirate incident? 6 corvettes attacking a human colony, subdued in 17 seconds. What does that have to do with 17 seconds? Lieutenant, 6 heavily armed pirate vessels neutralized without a single shot fired. Did you ever wonder how that was accomplished? Before Greer could respond, Cho's secure comm chimed. The holographic display activated, showing General Harlan's face once more, this time alongside Admiral Noor Patel. Elena, Harlan said without preamble, the Pentagon is tracking the situation. If we don't show at least a token fleet, our credibility collapses. A token fleet would be worse than none at all, Cho replied. It would escalate the situation further. Admiral Patel, a woman whose calm demeanor rivaled Cho's own, spoke up. Ambassador, the Sovereign Vigilance Battle Group is on standby. Your call. Wait for my signal, Cho said firmly. This situation requires delicacy, not force. As the communication ended, Greer looked at Cho with growing frustration. Ambassador, Earth's armed forces have been shadowing every diplomat for years. No one has ever noticed. In a moment, we may have to reveal them to prevent catastrophe. Greer's eyes widened. What are you saying? I'm saying, Lieutenant, that Earth's policy has never been about weakness. It has been about invisible strength. Outside, tension continued to build. The Dravari dreadnought fired a challenge Flarian antique code that authorized lethal engagement. In response, the Zeroth cruisers powered up their crystalline particle cannons. Concordia Prime's holoboards displayed a countdown to battle, T-minus 30 minutes. On the council floor, heated debate erupted. Delegates shouted over one another, some demanding the trial be canceled, others insisting that ancient law be respected. Through it all, Earth's delegation remained conspicuously quiet, drawing scornful glances from those who interpreted their silence as fear. Ambassador Cho convened a private session with Lieutenant Greer, Dr. Rowe, and Professor Tanaka in a secure room. What I am about to tell you is classified at the highest level, she began, once the door sealed shut. Earth's Stealth Fleet 18 invisible dreadnoughts has maintained covert orbits around Concordia Prime for the past 4 days, ready to intervene if necessary. Greer's jaw dropped. Invisible? But how? No cloaking technology is that advanced. Quantum phase shifting, Dr. Rowe answered. Surprising everyone. At their looks, she shrugged. I have the necessary clearance. The technology allows our ships to exist slightly out of phase with normal spacetime. They're here, but not here until they choose to be seen. We let them believe we are powerless, Cho continued, because if they ever truly learn our capability, they will never dare threaten each other or use again. For decades, this policy has served Earth well. We attend summits unarmed, apparently vulnerable, while our hidden fleet observes and protects. But why? Greer asked. Why the deception? Because visible power invites challenge. Professor Tanaka explained. It becomes a target, forces others to build countermeasures. Invisible power. That creates uncertainty, caution. Now we must decide, Cho said gravely. If we reveal our fleet to stop this conflict, we change Earth's diplomatic standing forever. If we remain hidden, millions may die. She looked at each of them in turn. I want your input. For several minutes, they debated the implications. Dr. Rowe argued that saving lives must take precedence over policy. Professor Tanaka countered that revealing Earth's true capability could trigger a new arms race. Lieutenant Greer, still processing the revelation, suggested a middle path, a limited intervention that might preserve some of Earth's mystery. As they spoke, the countdown continued, T-minus 15 minutes. Decision made, Cho said finally. We intervene, but only at the critical moment, and only enough to stop the immediate threat. Lieutenant, contact Admiral Patel on encrypted channel Delta. Tell her, Operation Reveal is authorized at T0. At T-minus 0, The Dravari unleashed an ion volley on the Zirath frigate. Blue plasma bolts tore through space, connecting with the lead Zirath vessel. Its crystalline shields flared brilliantly before failing. A reactor breach caused flames to erupt in the vacuum of space, an impossibility made possible by the exotic materials used in Zirath engineering. The Zirath retaliated immediately, their particle cannons sending streams of coherent energy toward the Dravari formation. One beam sliced through a Dravari destroyer's port wing, sending it into a dangerous spin toward Concordia Prime. At that exact moment, Ambassador Cho gave the signal. In what appeared to be empty space surrounding Concordia Prime, 18 Earth stealth dreadnoughts suddenly shimmered into view. Their hulls were midnight black, absorbing rather than reflecting light, making them appear as void-like silhouettes against the stars. Weapons ports glowed with restrained energy, and massive shield generators hummed to life. Using advanced electromagnetic stasis, beams technology, no other race had yet developed. The Earth warships immobilized both the Dravari dreadnoughts and Zirath cruisers. In seconds, every hostile vessel's engines cut out, weapon systems powered down, and communications arrays went silent. Inside the council chamber, the holoboards flickered and died. Delegates rushed to the viewport windows, staring in disbelief at the massive Earth fleet that had materialized from nowhere. Warlord Cax's face went pale beneath his scales. How long have they been here? Fleet Lord Aaron hissed, his crystalline suit vibrating with agitation. No ship in history could cloak that completely. Admiral Rohini Patel, commander aboard the flagship EDF Sovereign Vigilance, broadcast on all frequencies. This is Earth Defense Force. All vessels are hereby immobilized under Council Emergency Protocol 7 Alpha. Stand down and prepare to receive medical assistance. True to her words, medical pods launched from the Earth dreadnoughts, heading toward the damaged Dravari and Zirath ships. Meanwhile, Earth drones moved to intercept the spinning Dravari destroyer, using tractor beams to stabilize its trajectory away from the station. Other Earth drones patched breaches in Concordia Prime's outer hull, where stray weapons fire had struck. The station's alarm klaxons, which had been blaring warnings about imminent structural failure, gradually quieted. Once the immediate danger had passed, Ambassador Cho addressed every assembled delegate in the council chamber. Her image was broadcast via emergency hologram throughout Concordia Prime. "Honored delegates of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice steady. "What you have witnessed today is the revelation of a policy Earth has maintained since our founding as an interstellar power. We have hidden our fleet to deter preemptive wars. Our policy? Let them think us weak, so they prepare no defense against us." She paused, letting her words sink in. Earth believes in peace through strength, but strength need not be visible to be effective. Indeed, we have found that visible strength often provokes challenge, while invisible strength creates caution. Today, circumstances forced us to reveal what we have long kept hidden, but our commitment to peace remains unchanged. The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Warlord Cax pushed his way forward, his massive form intimidating even in defeat. "Why intervene to save us after deeming us enemies?" he demanded. Cho met his gaze without flinching. "Because Earth's strength honors life, even of our adversaries. We did not build our fleet for conquest or glory, but for protection. Today, that meant protecting you from yourselves." Fleet Lord Aaron approached more cautiously, his crystalline suit now a subdued blue. "The galaxy will not forget this deception. Ambassador, trust has been broken. Not deception, Fleet Lord, strategy, and not broken, but transformed. Earth never claimed to be unarmed, we simply chose not to display our weapons. That distinction matters." As the implications of Earth's revealed power spread throughout the station, delegations scrambled to update their strategic calculations. Some whispered that alliances must be reconsidered now that Earth's capability was proven. Lieutenant Greer stood at the back of the chamber, watching as Ambassador Cho deftly handled the barrage of questions, accusations, and sudden overtures of friendship. He saw now what he had missed before, the quiet confidence that came not from moral superiority alone, but from knowing that Earth's apparent vulnerability had always been its greatest strength. Underestimated power becomes true power, he murmured to himself, understanding at last. Later, he watched as Earth drones evacuated wounded Dravari soldiers to medical bays on Concordia Prime. His cynicism about Earth's pacifism melted into awe as he realized that the same fleet capable of immobilizing two battle groups simultaneously was now focused entirely on saving lives. 6 months later, the Concordia Doctrine was formally ratified by the Galactic Council. The new accord acknowledged Earth's right to maintain undisclosed defense forces at all diplomatic events, with the provision that any hidden military must intervene only to prevent mass casualty events or to uphold peace, never for conquest. Earth's reputation transformed virtually overnight. Human diplomats returned home as heroes, celebrated for revealing a power that had been protecting the galaxy in secret for decades. Popular sentiment on Earth shifted from occasional criticism of the unarmed diplomat policy to pride in being the hidden shield of the galaxy. General Marcus Harlan visited Ambassador Cho in her office at the Pentagon, a rare event that raised eyebrows among her staff. "I was wrong," he admitted, standing at the window overlooking the Washington Monument. "Our unseen deterrent prevented a war that would have destroyed Concordia Prime." "It did," Cho agreed, joining him at the window. "But now we face a new challenge. The galaxy knows our capability, or at least some of it. We must adapt our strategy accordingly." Harlan nodded. "True peace depends on believers in peace having the means to enforce it quietly." "Indeed. And now that they've seen our stealth dreadnoughts, we must develop something even they cannot anticipate." Deep in a remote Terran outpost on the Moon, an enormous hangar bay opened to reveal new stealth dreadnought prototypes. The ships were smaller than their predecessors, but incorporated even more advanced technology. A recalibrated Universal Council flag fluttered above the facility, symbolizing Earth's new role in galactic politics. Lieutenant Commander Samuel Greer, recently promoted, stood on the observation deck, watching as a stealth cruiser powered up its quantum phase shifters. The ship seemed to waver, like heat rising from asphalt, before vanishing completely from sight. Even knowing exactly where to look, Greer could detect no trace of the vessel. He whispered to himself, "The real reason we never show is so they never even think to resist." "An apt observation, Commander," came a voice behind him. Greer turned to find Admiral Rohini Patel studying him with approval. "The Concordia incident changed everything," Greer said. "Do you think we did the right thing, revealing ourselves?" "We saved millions of lives," Patel replied. "And perhaps, in the long run, we've created a more stable peace. Time will tell." She gestured toward the empty space where the cruiser had been. "For now, we continue to advance. The galaxy has seen our first-generation stealth technology. They haven't even imagined what comes next. And when they develop countermeasures to quantum phase shifting?" Patel smiled enigmatically. "Then they'll discover we've already moved beyond it." As they watched, 3 more cruisers vanished into subspace, their departure marked only by a slight distortion in the stars behind them. Bound for Concordia Prime and other diplomatic hotspots throughout the galaxy. They would maintain Earth's new tradition, visible when necessary, invisible by preference, but always present. Earth had revealed its greatest secret, but kept enough mystery to ensure that the revelation itself became a new form of deterrence. No race would again dismiss human diplomats as mere scientists and cultural envoys. They would forever wonder what other capabilities Earth might be hiding in plain sight. And in that uncertainty lay the truest form of peace the galaxy had ever known. Ambassador Elena Cho stood aboard the SS New Dawn once more, en route to another summit. This time, a single Earth dreadnought, the EDF Sovereign Vigilance, accompanied the diplomatic vessel openly, a visible reminder of the power Earth could bring to bear if needed. "It's different now," Lieutenant Commander Greer observed, joining her at the viewport. "Being acknowledged as a military power." "Different, yes," Cho agreed. "But our fundamental approach remains the same. True strength lies not in what you show, but in what you withhold." "And the next generation of stealth technology?" Cho's lips curved in a slight smile. "Let them wonder, Commander. Let them wonder." As Concordia Prime came into view, Greer noticed something odd about the space surrounding the station. For just a moment, he thought he saw a slight, shimmer-like heat distortion before it vanished. He glanced at Ambassador Cho, who gave him the briefest of nods. Some secrets, it seemed, would always remain hidden in plain sight. 6 decades later, the galaxy remembered the Concordia incident as the day Earth stopped pretending to be weak. What most didn't realize was that it was also the day Earth began pretending to be merely strong while developing capabilities beyond imagination. The true reason Earth never brought its military to peace summits wasn't just to hide its strength. It was to hide how its conception of strength had moved beyond ships and weapons entirely. As other races built bigger dreadnoughts to counter what they'd seen at Concordia Prime, Earth was quietly transcending the very notion of conventional warfare. When the Hraxian incursion threatened to destabilize the entire Orion Arm a century later, the galaxy would learn this lesson once more. But that, as they say, is another story. For now, Earth's diplomats continued to attend summits with minimal visible protection. They spoke of peace and cooperation, science and culture, and if the other delegates sometimes glanced nervously at empty space, wondering what might be watching from just beyond perception, well, that was precisely the point. True peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the presence of quiet certainty that some lines should never be crossed. Earth had found its way to enforce that certainty without a single shot fired, and in doing so, had rewritten the very meaning of both peace and summit throughout the galaxy.